Welcome to the show, everybody. I just want to thank you folks for showing up. I, as I mentioned, I really appreciate Pharmacist Ben for taking time out of his schedule to do these Ben's Bites. Becca Dukes in the background, who, you know, put this whole thing together in the first place. As far as the Daily with Doc show, and now we're carrying it on with Pharmacist Ben's Bites as a offshoot. And today, Pharmacist Ben, now first of all, I gotta expose you in public.
Uh-oh.
And this is not like my usual cool. You don't buy into the clickbait. I'm like trying to clickbait.
You're all about the clickbait.
I'm trying to clickbait the folks. Get them in, and you're just like,
I'm like raining on your clickbait parade there.
You're like,
yeah, all right, I got it.
We gotta play it straight.
We don't need clickbait. We're really helping people. We're really making a difference. We don't need to bait them.
Yeah,
clickbait them, or do we?
Well,
we do?
Mean,
all right.
Some people respond to different things, right? So,
all right, but clickbait can come. I mean, if you do the wrong headline, that can come back to bite you. As I was mentioning to you. You want it to backfire.
Yeah.
So, but your point on we're going to talk about the colloidal minerals, and that was plant-derived colloidal minerals and the advantages of plant-derived colloidal minerals. Here's the thing: there's different classes of minerals depending on how much you need. There are minerals that you need in large quantities, macro minerals like magnesium, for example. You need a couple grams of that a day. Calcium is a macro mineral. You need a couple grams of that, or in that order of magnitude. Probably not that much, but somewhere in there. And then there are the minerals that you need in much smaller amounts, and then there's minerals that you need even still smaller amounts. So there's macro minerals, there's micro minerals, there are trace minerals, and then there are ultra trace minerals. Ultra trace minerals you only need a speck of. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny little pinch, like 0.00001 milligrams kind of thing. Trace minerals, you need less, and then there's the micro minerals and there's the macro minerals. The point is that Dr. Wallach's plant-derived minerals give you everything. They give you the macros, they give you the micros, they give you the trace, and they give you the ultra trace, but you still need to take higher quantities of things like magnesium and calcium and potassium and even zinc and iron and other nutrients. You're not going to get all of those in the right concentrations of the plant-derived minerals. You'll get a full spectrum, but the ones like the macro and the micros and even the trace minerals, you need to take those separately. You're not going to get enough of those in the plant-derived minerals. Second thing is that the plant-derived colloidal minerals don't just contain colloidal minerals, they also contain ionic minerals. Colloidal minerals, they will hang in the water. Technically, they say suspend in the water or the liquid, and the suspension in the liquid will generate electrical charges. A colloidal suspension generates electrical charges, and the colloids themselves, let me backtrack real quick. A colloidal mineral the term is very confusing. First of all, they're not minerals, as we talked about earlier. Remember, we talked about this last week. They're elements. So there's no colloidal minerals. They're colloidal elements. We colloquially call them colloidal minerals. That's what everybody calls them. But they're really colloidal elements. So you have an element, we'll just say, for argument's sake, we'll say magnesium. So you have magnesium. And then the plant will surround that magnesium with proteins and other organic material to make that magnesium bigger. Magnesium is now in the center, and it's wrapped around with a coating of organic material. That coating of organic material is referred to as a colloid. And the whole thing is referred to as a colloid. And so magnesium plus the coating creates colloidal magnesium. The calcium plus the coating creates colloidal calcium. The carbon or the boron or the silver or the iodine or whatever element you're talking about, it gets coated and it becomes colloidal carbon, colloidal silver, colloidal iodine, whatever the element is in the center. The reason this is important to recognize is because the colloidal element has different qualities than just the element. And the colloidal element has electrical properties that are superior to, or in addition to, any of the benefits that you get from the element that's in the center. And so a colloidal element, if you will, like what they call a colloidal mineral, actually lends electrical properties to the blood, for example, when it gets into the bloodstream. Colloidal elements in general carry negative electrical charges, and this allows them to interact with cell membranes and proteins, matrix proteins in the blood. It also helps support the flow of electrical energy through the blood or through the liquid, and it helps balance out stressors that are typically associated with what's called oxidation. Oxidation is when electrical energy is ripped off of molecules. Colloidal elements can help influence some of those, the oxidative properties of what they call ROS or oxidants or reactive oxygen species. There's various names for them. So they act as, I don't want to say antioxidants, but they can help protect against oxidative stress, in addition to supporting the flow of electricity through the blood, in addition to being able to interact with cell membranes and proteins. So the colloid itself, that actually has properties above and beyond the element that is sitting inside the colloid. These most colloidal mineral plant-derived mineral drinks also contain, as I say, ions, which have a whole different spectrum of activity that we don't even talk about. The ions in the plant-derived colloidal minerals are incredibly valuable chelating agents for cleaning out dirty blood. They help they help support what's called ion exchange, which allows elements, trace minerals or trace elements, to get into cells more effectively. And we don't even mention the ionic minerals that are in the plant-derived colloidal minerals. And then, of course, you're getting vitamins, and you're getting amino acids, and you're getting fatty acids that are part of the plants. And then you're getting also, in addition to all of these nutrients, you're getting phytonutrients, adaptogens, if you will, that are in the plants. So you're getting a full spectrum of nutritional value: vitamins, aminos, fatty acids, phytonutrients, in addition to both colloidal and ionic minerals.
You're referencing the Tangy Tangerine when you say that, or just the mineral?
Anytime there's plant-derived minerals on the ingredient tag.
Wow.
Those are all the things you're getting in addition to the plant-derived.
You get phytonutrients in plant-derived minerals too?
Yep. Wow. Absolutely. They can't separate them out.
Wow. You know, it's funny because a lot of times folks talk about these mushroom extracts for phytonutrients and adaptogens, etc.
That's true. Mushrooms contain. I don't think they call them phytonutrients. They're called myconutrients, mushroom nutrients, fungus nutrients, and then they also contain adaptogens, great adaptogens in mushrooms. Mushrooms, I don't want to say they're nature's best source of adaptogens, but they're certainly a great source of adaptogens. I don't know if I mentioned that the colloidal minerals also help structure water. Did I mention that?
You did not mention it just now.
Colloidal minerals will also help structure water, and that structured water is actually like a kind of like water that has a battery effect. Structured water conducts electrical charges from negative to positive, just like a battery does. So structured water is almost like an electrified water, and the colloidal minerals or colloidal elements help structure water to make water more electrical. This structured water, or this electrical water, if you will, coherent water, is wetter. Did you know you can have water that's wetter than other water? Who knew, right? And that wetter water, which is created by colloidal minerals, enhances hydration of tissues as well as of cells. It's a more effective type of water. It's electrical, and it also has a better hydrating power, or has more hydrating power than ordinary water does. This is all created by the colloidal minerals or colloidal elements. I'm going to call, forgive me for saying colloidal minerals because it's just what everybody says.
Yeah.
Just know that they're not minerals, they're elements. I know
we're a part of the society.
Yes.
So it's hard to break free of that. I just want to do a little show and tell. Let's
Look
see.
at that. How pretty.
Let's see if is there a way to make that a little bigger? I guess I can't do full screen. All right, but can you see what's on the screen?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay. So this is kind of what you were discussing. Nature's miracle, plant-derived colloidal minerals. Do you want to talk about the slide or?
No, it's pretty much the same thing we just talked about. Now, rock-based minerals, those are the kind of minerals that most people get in the health food store. Those are a little harder for the body to process. Those are the ones that sink in water. Colloidal minerals, remember, hang in water. Rock-based minerals sink in water. When they hang, they're conducting or they're supporting, we'll say, electricity in the water. Rock-based minerals are inert. Remember my example of being on the subway when you're all squished together, you can't really do anything. But a colloidal mineral is spread out more, and so it has an ability to support electrical energy in water. Rock-based minerals don't really do anything; they just sink.
And then it's nature's superior alternative.
Yeah. Plants convert. Read the second one here. Bioavailable form. Plants
convert inorganic minerals into readily accessible and bioavailable form, perfectly suited for living organisms. This transformation makes plant-derived minerals a true testament to the synergy between nature and our health needs.
Exactly. They are a different type of element. They are readily available, or they're bioavailable, readily accessible. The body can use them in a way that the body cannot use rock minerals.
So I'm gathering that this is the process where the plant.
This is how the plant actually forms the colloid from the mineral in the soil.
Just amazed with everything that goes on our planet, even
Yes.
nature-wise and even human-made. I'm even amazed when we build bridges or make a computer chip.
Sometimes I wonder, like, imagine being a civil engineer and you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, "Oh my God, it was 0.01." I was thinking that.
Do you remember resonance from that bridge?
Tesla made a bridge come down with resonance. That's why that's when armies march across bridges, they have to be careful how they march because they'll create a resonance effect that will make the bridge fall down. So they have to march in separate. They can't march together. They have to march with separate steps. Otherwise, the resonance will be too strong and the bridge will come down.
Okay, so resonance. Becca, do you remember that? It's like the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, and it kept swaying and swaying, and eventually
Did it come down?
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
This is in Washington.
Yeah, I think it's Tacoma Narrows Bridge. It was called. Anyway.
All right. Well,
chelation process, kind of what you talked about a little earlier.
Yep. They clean the blood. That's one of the hidden benefits of the plant-derived minerals is their chelating properties that make them wonderful blood cleansers and detoxifiers.
And the benefits of chelation, as you were kind of saying,
cleaning the blood. Remember, it's all about dirty blood. Cleaning the blood is important for all chronic health challenges. Anything you do to clean the blood.
And we're going to get into cleaning the blood in a little while, and we're comparing. And then interesting here, if you don't mind going through this a little bit. So we've got the process here.
Yeah, inorganic minerals, that's your stuff in the soil. That's the rocks in the soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
The plant will take up some of the rocks, and as the plants are taken up through the roots, it will transform the rocks, the inorganic minerals, into colloidal minerals by coating them with organic material. Make sense?
Yes.
That's the chelation. The last step, chelation, also has the same thing. The transformation converts the iron, let's say the iron or the calcium, into an organic form, which means a form that has plant material associated with it. The whole thing will get bound together, and that makes it bioavailable, ready for human absorption, human consumption.
And folks, if you're subscribed to our email, Jonty's putting together a presentation to email out. We're going to be doing a lot more. Make sure you go to dailywithdoc.com and sign up for the email list. And be sure to go to criticalhealthnews.com and sign up for the email list, because on Critical Health News, this is where Pharmacist Ben's new article series will be coming out. So you don't want to miss that, because you can actually share the emails for people who are readers and don't watch video so much. And they'll be able to help more people in as many ways possible. So we see that these are a perfect fit, natural balance, and the cofactors are included. What cofactors are in the plant-derived minerals? I think you mentioned it, but
the plant-derived minerals have phytonutrients,
mm-hmm.
plant nutrients, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and vitamins.
Okay.
Everything, they're well-rounded. They got everything you need, but they don't have a lot of them. So you still need to supplement with 50 milligrams a day of zinc, for example, or 1,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C, whatever it is, because you're not going to get the high concentrations, but you'll get a broad spectrum, even though you won't get a high concentration. You'll get everything, but you'll still need to take more of certain nutrients if you want to get a good dose, like zinc, for example, or vitamin E or vitamin C. And speaking of vitamin E, I was just reading an article about vitamin E being used for obesity. We can talk about that here before we go today.
Interesting. Someone else was also talking about zinc, another use for zinc, and I forget exactly. I'll have to check that. Joseph Cologne is asking, I mix the plant-derived minerals with my Rise and Restore. Is that okay, or should I do it separately?
No, you can mix them in. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And Ivan, our good friend Ivan, who is the designer of the Daily with Doc logos and website that's coming out, the redo, mentions about Royal Rife and the Rife generator, who claimed that he could use the C word for the C word using resonance frequency.
Word. Well, I don't know if I do know the work of Royal Rife, and he claimed that all these the growths in the body, bacteria, tumors, or neoplasms, they have certain frequencies, and by resonance via resonance, if you dial it just the right frequency, you can explode the tumor.
You match the frequency of the
right. You can kind of explode it using this resonance phenomena. I don't know if that. I don't know enough about it to really take a stand on that. It sounds a little unlikely to me, but I do know.
It's funny for someone who is very clear on the problems with the medical system.
Yeah.
It's always very interesting that you find a lot of other things very hokey. And
there's a lot of hokiness. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of hokiness out there, and it's unfair, really, because what it does is it preys on our lack of understanding of how these things work. They take advantage of our ignorance. And that's why I'm very careful to make sure that I always talk about how things happen, the mechanisms. I don't want to be lumped into that hokey column. I want people to understand how these things work so it can make sense to them. That's why I take great pains. Sometimes, like, as you know, we'll answer one question and it'll take the entire hour to answer one or two questions because I'm going into the mechanism. So I don't like making assertions, and there is so much hokiness in this business that I think it's really important that you explain how things work in a logical and coherent and simple way so that people can really have a take-home message, not just about what to take, but how what they're taking is going to benefit.
And people do appreciate you for that. Does serrapeptase cleanse the blood like nattokinase?
Yes. Serrapeptase is a great enzyme. All enzymes will do it. Serrapeptase is one of the best. Nattokinase is great. Bromelain and papain, which are protein dissolving enzymes, those are great too. So yes, in fact, enzyme medicine is a legitimate therapeutic form of pharmacological intervention in Europe. They call it enzyme medicine or enzyme therapy, and it's used a lot. So enzymes, do you know what an enzyme is, by the way?
We did discuss what an enzyme is, and the last time we tried this, I failed miserably. So,
okay, what is an enzyme? You don't want to say, okay. An
mm-hmm.
enzyme, biochemistry is shape-shifting. That's all chemistry is shape-shifting. A goes to B, goes to C, goes to D, and it keeps going ad infinitum, like countless times a second. In order for A to go to B, it has to have a little help. A will eventually go to B just by bumping it by accident. Eventually A will turn to B. But with a little help, A will reliably go to B.
Kind of like a catalyst?
That's exactly what it is. A catalyst. That's the exact word. A catalyst speeds up the rate of chemical reactions. Chemical reactions will happen anyway, but they'll happen very slowly. The biological system needs reliability and it needs speed. And that's what enzymes do. They provide a certain consistency, a reliability to A going to B. So in the presence of enzymes, A will always go to B. Without enzymes, A may or may not go to B. The enzymes assure that A will always go to B. And that's why they're so important. Without the enzymes, A won't make it to B. It may make it occasionally, but it won't make it reliably to B. Now, here's where it gets a little confusing. There are digestive enzymes, and those are enzymes that support digestion. They'll make A, which is food, go to B, which is the components of food. So A to B with a digestive enzyme is your hamburger going into the building blocks of that hamburger. Right? Make sense? You're looking like...
Yes.
Okay? That's a digestive enzyme. A metabolic enzyme is an enzyme that is used for chemistry in the body. It's different from a digestive enzyme. So you have digestive enzymes, which are for digestion, for breaking down food, where the A to B is hamburger to protein and amino acids and vitamins and whatever's in the hamburger. And then you have metabolic enzymes, which turn chemical A into chemical B. So there's two different kinds of enzymes. When people hear enzymes, especially longevity people, they'll think digestive enzymes. But the vast majority of enzymes in the body are not digestive enzymes. They're metabolic enzymes. And those are the enzymes that are used to make chemistry happen, not in the digestive system. Let me just say a couple more things real quick. All enzymes are proteins, and all enzymes come from DNA. So DNA will make enzymes, or will code for enzymes, not make it, but code for enzymes. That's number one. And number two, and this is kind of interesting, there was a guy named Edward Howell who wrote a book called Enzyme Nutrition. I think in the 1970s it came out. And in this book, he proposed a theory that said that metabolic enzymes are used to process food when there's not enough digestive enzymes present. And because one of the sources of digestive enzymes is living food, fruits and vegetables and eggs and foods that were close to being alive, the fact that most of us are subsisting on enzyme-less food, processed foods are enzyme-less. They're enzymeless because, first of all, they don't want any enzymes in a processed food because enzymes will break down the food. So they make sure there's no enzymes in processed food. And also, when you cook, you destroy enzymes. So if the food's been cooked, it destroys enzymes. So Howell's theory said that because we don't get enough digestive enzymes because we're eating processed foods, our metabolic enzymes get shifted into the digestive system. And this means we don't have enough enzymes to make chemistry. And so he said that by eating foods that contain enzymes, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, eggs, meat that's not overcooked, you can spare your metabolic enzymes. In other words, your metabolic enzymes won't have to pick up the slack now because you're getting your enzymes from food or from digestive enzyme supplements. which means that by eating enzyme-rich foods and by using your ultimate enzymes, your body now can save its metabolic enzymes for fighting cancer, or for building bone, or for building connective tissue and keeping your skin healthy. So in other words, and for longevity. So in other words, using digestive enzymes and eating enzyme-rich food will help you spare your metabolic enzymes. This was Dr. Edward Howell's theory, which he elucidated in the book Enzyme Therapy. Now, doctors, for whatever reason, they think that's not true, but that was his position, and it makes sense. So if you want to read more about it, the book is called Enzyme Nutrition. It's a great book and easy to read, and a lot of these theories come from there. Yes, sir.
So your body is making metabolic enzymes. You're not ingesting metabolic enzymes.
No, you're not ingesting metabolic enzymes. They come from DNA. They're genetically, they're produced in cells.
And you need protein. You need aminos to make these.
You need aminos. Yes, absolutely. Enzymes are proteins. They're made up of amino acids. And so, yes, that's one of the reasons why dietary protein is so important. So you can have raw materials for making enzymes.
What can accelerate your creation of these metabolic enzymes?
Health, good health, good nutrition. That's why you want your cells healthy and your DNA healthy. Your body will make them if it can, but if there's too much acid in the cell, there's not enough amino acids present. There's cofactors missing. Vitamins, by the way, a lot of vitamins, not all of them, but vitamins, some vitamins act as coenzymes.
Q10.
Coenzymes, like the B complex has coenzymes. Some of the B vitamins are coenzymes. There's some coenzymatic roles for vitamin C. So coenzymes, they support enzymes. So one of the ways that to answer your question, one of the ways that you can make sure that you're efficiently making metabolic enzymes or getting efficient metabolic enzyme activity is to make sure you're ingesting coenzymes, like, for example, vitamin C or coenzyme Q10. That's a classic coenzyme.
Interesting. Since you're talking about enzymes and blood cleaning, etc., I have two good friends.
Yes.
Who have some issues.
Yes.
One is Gary. And one is Anthony.
Gary and Anthony, yes.
Anthony's really having a tough time.
Okay, why is that?
Anthony's in and out of the hospital. He's fought some cancers. He's had the bone marrow transplant. He's had the bone marrow, like the rejection. He's dealing with like the rejection sort of thing, and he's having a pretty tough time. But more importantly, he's reducing like the Eliquis or whatever blood thinners they're giving him, and is thinking about using nattokinase some more, thinking about using sweeties in addition, but really is having a tough time with bleeding and his veins, etc., holding the blood. I'm gathering. I'm not sure why one's skin would be bruising in that fashion. And then Gary's issue, which is kind of related. Gary's issue is he's dealing with, severe edema due to blood clots above the knee. Like he's got.
These are all circulatory issues. These are all blood issues. Dirty blood. Anytime you have a circulatory issue, you got dirty blood issue, which is very common. So the first thing you got to do is work on the source of the dirty blood, which is the intestine. So what I would be doing, if these are your friends of yours, talk to them about their foods, because they probably have no idea that circulatory problems are secondary to food problems or digestive problems, leaky gut. There's also nutritional deficiencies that can be involved too, and the combination of nutritional deficiencies, which are caused by two things. When you have leaky gut or intestinal inflammation, very often you're going to be nutritionally deficient just because you're not eating right, you're not taking in the right kind of nutrients, but also nutrients are absorbed in the intestine. So when the intestine's inflamed, you're not going to be absorbing your B vitamins as effectively, your vitamin C as effectively, your fatty vitamins as effectively. You're going to be malnourished on top of having to deal with toxicity in the blood. So there's a lot you can do is the bottom line here. And it all starts with making sure that the intestine is healthy, reducing intestinal inflammation, and patching up a leaky gut. How do you do it? First, you do a food diary and start to eliminate foods. Don't have preconceived ideas. I can't tell you how many times people will tell me that they're symptomatic, but they're gluten-free, or they're avoiding the 10 bad foods, or they're vegetarian. They only eat vegetables. I don't eat any red meat. I don't eat any gluten, and I still have arthritis, and I still have heart disease. Well, that's because there's a lot more to it than just not eating eating gluten or not eating the 10 bad foods. That's why food diary is so important. And I think we're going to put a free food diary blank on the website here pretty soon, on the Triangle of Disease website or one of our websites, because it's really important, and it's a little bit tricky. Because you got to change the way you eat. You got to only eat one type of food. Instead of a tuna fish sandwich, you just got to have tuna fish. Instead of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you just got to have peanuts. Instead of chicken cacciatore, you just got to have a piece of chicken.
Just got to have a cacciatore?
I don't know what a cacciatore is.
I don't know either.
Whatever it is. But my point is you got to eat very simply until you see what's doing what. And then there's the whole nutritional deficiency aspect for the blood. And as we said earlier, chelate the blood, boom, boom. One of the best chelating agents for the blood. Chelating means cleaning. It's a magnetic attraction of
what about the plant-derived minerals themselves?
Exactly, that'll do it too. Absolutely, that'll do it too.
So Tangy and some plant-derived
anything with plant-derived minerals. Anything with plant-derived minerals.
How about for these people who are the bad gut? What if they're taking 3 doses of Tangy a day?
Nothing wrong with that. You take as much as you want. The only thing if you take too much Tangy, sometimes people cramp or they don't absorb it as well, so they'll have diarrhea. It'll come, it won't get absorbed because people's either their intestinal lining is inflamed, so the absorption is poor, or they're taking too much all at once. So smaller doses is best, especially when you first start working on intestinal health. Smaller doses of Beyond Tangy Tangerine are probably best. But there's lots of other nutrients for cleaning the blood too. And for this gentleman on Eliquis, which is a blood thinner, and it's important, by the way, if your blood's not circulating properly, blood clots are a real possibility, and you don't want to have a blood clot. So what the doctors are doing is they're trying to prevent blood clots, and that's secondary to sluggishness of the blood. Remember, when the blood is sluggish, it can leak, and also clots can start to form. So the real problem is the sluggish blood, the sticky blood, the dirty blood, the viscous blood, the hypercoagulable blood, whatever you want to call it. Where is all this? Where is this coming from? Toxicity that's leaking into the bloodstream. Remember, the blood's not just a red fluid. It's a very complex organ or tissue. And it's made up of proteins and fats and minerals and gases and hormones, and all kinds of stuff is in the blood. When you have this condition called leaky gut, you literally have crap going into your bloodstream, because that stuff in the small intestine that's now getting into your blood, a lot of that is supposed to be eliminated through your bowels. Now, instead of being eliminated through the bowels, it's getting into the bloodstream, and that throws everything off. And that has to be recognized. Another great there's a lot of them. Vitamin E is a good blood thinner. Omega-3 fats are good blood thinners. Doctors will even tell you not to take vitamin E because if you're on a blood thinner, because you might blood thin too much. I say take the vitamin E and lower your dose of your Eliquis, but you got to work with your doctor on that. Glucogel caps have blood thinning properties. Ultimate enzymes have blood thinning properties. Water, of course, will thin the blood. Oxygen through breathing will thin the blood. There's probably a few other ones that I'm missing. The minerals, the plant-derived minerals will have blood cleansing effects. What else?
Ultimate niacin.
Ultimate niacin's a vasodilator. It'll open up the blood. It'll open up the vessels, but it doesn't necessarily thin the blood. Remember, when you have sticky blood and blood doesn't make it to the tissues, your brain will raise the pressure. And high blood pressure is a compensatory mechanism to get the tissues to get enough oxygen and nutrients. By cleaning the blood, either at the source, the leaky gut, or through chelation, you can restore the functionality of the circulatory system so the body doesn't have to turn up the pressure. And this is a great strategy for helping lower the blood pressure. Over time, when the pressure is high, you'll end up with damage to the vessels. One of the ways the body patches up the damage, and by the way, the damage to the vessels will release more inflammatory factors to the blood, and so damage to the vessels will also cause the blood to become sticky and hypercoagulable. But even more interesting, we'll say, when the vessel, the inside of the vessel, becomes damaged because the pressure is too high, are you with me? The pressure is too high, so that can cause damage to the outside of the vessel. The body will patch up that damage with cholesterol. And cholesterol plaques and calcium. That's another, sometimes it'll be like a complex of cholesterol and calcium. These plaques represent the body's attempt to patch up the vessel. And unfortunately, if this keeps happening, the vessel can become blocked. And that's why doctors want to give you statin drugs, completely oblivious to the fact that the cholesterol is there because the pressure is so high, because the body is turning up the pressure, because the blood is sticky and sludgy. So it all boils down to sticky and sludgy blood. That cholesterol, that's why, by the way, you only have cholesterol plaques in the arteries, not in the veins. The veins don't have the high pressure because the veins are going on the return trip. The high pressure is in the arteries. And that high pressure is what damages the vessel, is what damages the arterial vessels. And that's when the body has to patch it up with calcium and cholesterol. And that's when you get your plaques and your blockages.
Pharmacist Ben, so if someone were to drink a whole bottle of plant-derived minerals and they were sitting on the toilet all day, is there any benefit from all of that potential chelation?
If they eliminate all the minerals?
Well, you took a plant-derived minerals and I drank half the bottle. And drinking more than an ounce.
Yeah, you're going to eliminate a lot of it, depending on the health of your intestines, but some of it will get into your blood. I don't know the amount. I don't know. It depends on how healthy your intestines are. But if your intestines are really inflamed, it's difficult for nutrients to get absorbed into the blood. Your intestines are like a tube, and the blood is on the other side. Mm-hmm. And so food goes down the way it's supposed to happen is food goes through the intestine, and then it goes into the bloodstream from the intestine. But if the intestine is inflamed, the nutrients aren't going to make it into the blood; they'll pass through, and that's when you get your diarrhea.
What about aloe? Would there be any benefit?
Aloe is great. Aloe is anti-inflammatory, very soothing for the intestine. Aloe is a great supplement for folks who are dealing with leaky gut, absolutely, or intestinal inflammation.
So we're talking about I-26,
C, collagen peptides, anything with vitamin A in it. Vitamin A is really helpful for the intestine, for intestinal inflammation. Staying away from fried fats. Fried fats are very inflammatory for the intestine. What else? Butyrate, butyrate, which your body will make from fiber. So the ultimate microbiome, making sure you're getting enough bacteria, probiotics. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do.
Do I want to wait on my probiotics until after I've used my I-26?
Yes. You don't want to take them at the same time.
All righty then. Pharmacist Ben, Nancy, is a half gallon of carrot juice per day harmful?
Carrot juice is very high in sugar. It's not harmful, but it's pretty sweet. Dilute it with water. I don't know how concentrated it is you're talking about, but half a gallon isn't necessarily harmful. It has a lot of good nutrients in it, but carrots tend to be high sugar too. And that sugar is not going to be, if you're doing a regular juice without the fiber, that sugar will go right into the blood, and that can throw off your that can raise blood sugar very quickly. And that can cause either a hyperglycemic response or cortisol response. Actually, now I think about it, it's probably a lot of that in the carrots will be fructose. I'm not sure what the fructose to glucose ratio. Fructose is especially problematic for the liver. And so if it's, I don't really know if carrot juice is a fructose base or a glucose base. I think it's probably probably some of both. And fructose can be problematic for the liver. So that's a lot of sugar. If you want to do a half a gallon of vegetable juice, that's great. But half a gallon of carrot juice is pretty sweet.
Well, according to Dr. Google, carrot juice contains both fructose and glucose, but sucrose
50-50.
is the most
Sucrose,
abundant sugar overall.
well, sucrose is glucose and fructose. Sucrose is made up of both glucose and that's what makes up sucrose.
Right,
So is it 50-50?
right.
Did it say 50-50? I don't know what the ratio is, but it's probably something like that. Yes. I don't really know, actually.
Interesting.
But I know it's sweet. Carrots are sweet. You ever have carrot cake?
Have I had carrot cake?
Yeah. Carrots are
Come
very sweet.
on, man.
They're one of the sweeter vegetables. That's why we love carrots. Cooked carrots are really sweet. When you cook vegetables, you release the sugars.
Yeah.
Even onions, cooked onions are really sweet too.
Cooked onions are good too. Yeah. Yeah. You can't really talk about sweets around me and ask if I've had them.
Okay. All right.
You know, I used to burn the stuff off pretty well. So our buddy Albert asked, could you ask Ben to give you the details of the 2 books he mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago? There were Chronic Inflammation and Fasting Cancer, if I remember correctly.
Chronic inflammation. Oh, fasting cancer is a. I just read that. I didn't buy it, but I saw it at Barnes & Noble. I was kind of reading through it, and it's about the benefits of fasting for cancer. I think it's called Fasting Cancer. I'm pretty sure, but it was a few weeks ago. And then what was the other one? Chronic inflammation.
Yeah, it says chronic inflammation. That's all it says.
Oh yeah. That's this book right here.
What's the title of that?
It's called Chronic Inflammation.
Who's
it's
it about?
a textbook. It's a textbook.
Okay.
It's these textbooks are chapters that are each written by a different person, and the whole thing is edited. So there's like 20 or 30. Let's see how many chapters in here. There are. There's like 30 something chapters in here, and each chapter is written by a different person. So the chapters have names like disease modifying, anti-rheumatic drugs, biologic molecular medicine for from bench to bedside. I mean, this is a textbook. You don't want to read unless you want to read a textbook. Fasting Cancer is a Barnes & Noble book.
Albert's a reader.
Okay, well, it's a great book. It's pretty texty.
Nancy's saying, and she's not joking, won't too much carrots turn you orange?
Yeah. She's not
really?
Joking. Not too much carrots, but too much beta carotene, which is a phytonutrient that's in carrots. Beta carotene is 2 vitamin A molecules stuck together. And so some vegetarians feel like they can eat beta carotene and they don't have to eat vitamin A. Vitamin A is only found in animals. Beta carotene, which is 2 vitamin A molecules stuck together, is found in plants. So the body can, if you're healthy, and not everybody's healthy, but for some people, they can break up the beta carotene molecule to form vitamin A. Beta carotene has been used as a self-tanning peel, which is a self-tanning pill, which is a pill that you take and you get a tan. Not really, you get orange is what happens. And that gal, who was it? Did you say Nancy?
Yeah,
she's absolutely correct. That does happen. Yes.
Wow, interesting. But you said vitamin A was good for the gut, so you'd need some enzymes to kind of break up that A. To break up the beta carotene.
No, your body makes the enzymes to do it if you're healthy. But if you're not healthy, and especially if you have thyroid problems, that's not going to happen as effectively as it would. You don't even turn orange. It'll just get past. It'll just go through you. Wow. So, yeah, you might. I don't know. You might turn orange if you took enough. You have to take a lot to turn orange. Just eating a few carrots isn't going to do it. But if she's eating if she's drinking half a gallon of carrot juice every day, yeah, she might turn orange. You won't turn orange. You'll just get a little orange tinge tinge to you.
So Mr. T7 is agreeing with you. Way back in the day, famous intuitive Jack Schwartz said, taking vitamins does no good without the right minerals along with it. That
It's
is Dr.
And the
Wallach.
minerals, yeah, Dr. Wallach, that's what Dr. Wallach's been saying.
He's all about the cofactors. In fact, won't even sell you selenium without its cofactors. Pharmacist Ben, next time you come to New York, we'll have to take you to Posh Pop and get you some.
Who's that?
This is it's a bad indulgence that Becca makes me go to every time she comes to New York, and it's got all the gluten-free treats that you can imagine. I introduced her to it, but now, like, you know, these folks are her and Ruth Ellen. They're kind of they kind of like it a lot now. So every time they come to New York, they will go. So, folks, since you haven't given us any more questions, I'm going to let Pharmacist Ben almost have a normal life tonight.
All right.
And
I have a million things to do. Thank you, AJ. You're the man. And Becca.
No, man, I appreciate it. You know, you see, we start off with 5 people, and now, you know, the folks are showing up and they're watching now. So,
all right.
You know, it happens.
God bless everybody. We'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday, Pharmacist Ben. Thank you very much. All right, folks. So if we did not get to your question, you have to send an email in. And you're going to email questions@dailywithdoc.com. Email questions@dailywithdoc.com. I'm particularly interested in what you're saying here. Chakra Raka. We want to help you. Please make sure you send an email to questions@dailywithdoc.com and questions@dailywithdoc.com or 855-949-3377 to speak to a certified holistic health coach. That's 855-949-3377 or questions@dailywithdoc.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks.